Hey, welcome to EPN. My name is Victor Lucas, and boy, have we got an incredible episode of EP Live today. Our great friend Tommy Tallarico, somebody who hasn't actually been on EP Live yet, joins me today, and we're going to have a great conversation about his brand new role as the president of Intellivision, so you don't want to go anywhere. We have lots of show to give you, though, and we're going to get started very soon here. But first, we just have to get started with our rundown. But before we start with that, we have to give a shout out to Todd McFarlane and Jamie Foxx and the Blumhouse folks, because we've got a new Spawn movie that's coming out, and that just happened. The news just hit just before we started to go live here. So congrats to all of those people. Looking forward to the Spawn movie. Hope it is good. But let's get started with your rundown. We've got some very big news to start off with today. Former EP host and Video Games Live founder Tommy Tallarico has been named president of Intellivision Entertainment and announced plans to create an all-new Intellivision console. It hasn't been revealed yet, but they say it will bring back the concept of simple, affordable family fun, which sounds like this will be a smaller system like the upcoming Atari VCS or Retro NES Classic. Intellivision released a retro system called the Intellivision Flashback in 2014. The original Intellivision was released in 1979 by toy company Mattel, with Intellivision being spun off as its own company in 1984. The rights to the Intellivision name have changed hands several times since then, and the current Intellivision Entertainment hopes to rejuvenate the brand with the new machine and their new president. We'll be speaking with Tommy after this rundown, and I can't wait to have the conversation with him, but this makes perfect sense. Intellivision is one of those vaunted brands. I remember the commercial so clearly with George Plimpton in the 80s, and they did such a great job of, promoting this, more intelligent approach to video game fun and entertainment, and they really kind of took it seriously. They really could see the company, the founders, the people that built Intellivision could really see the potential of the medium, and so many of those folks are still involved, and Tommy has been friends with them, and Tommy has preached the gospel of Intellivision ever since I've met him in 1995, and so when I found out that this was happening, I was like, of course, this makes perfect sense. So I'm going to sit down with him and talk with him very soon, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, get ready for more 80s gaming nostalgia this fall. Capcom has announced that the all-new Mega Man 11 will hit consoles and the PC on October 2nd. Fans who pre-order will get an alternate in-game soundtrack to listen to while playing. Even though Mega Man 11 is an all-new game with modern graphics and audio, it's meant to recapture the spirit and feel of the classic Mega Man series, complete with tight platforming controls and brutal difficulty. Luckily, there will also be an optional easy difficulty mode for noobs. I might have to play that. Before Mega Man 11 arrives, Capcom is also releasing the Mega Man X Legacy Collection 1 and 2, featuring the 8 games in the Mega Man X series. Those two collections arrived this July, and of course, the Mega Man Collection Volume 1 and 2 both just landed on the Switch. Those were also on the Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Mega Man is eternal, man, and it's fantastic that Capcom is keeping this character alive. I am psyched to see this new kind of 3D derivation, this kind of new idea on how to continue with the 2D platforming roots of this franchise. There's something about 2D game design, man. Like it holds up. The classic games are still fun. I just booted up Wonder Boy on my Switch yesterday, and one of the cool things about that game is that you can jump back in time to look at the graphics from the old days, and you can check out the brand new visuals that .emu put into there. And it's just amazing how that classic design, that platforming design, can still hold up. They're not all great, and sometimes we stay in that nostalgic kind of headspace too often, but I'm a Mega Man fan. That series is incredible. I can't wait to play the new stuff. I can't wait to play the X collection, and I'm absolutely going to get you guys a review for Mega Man Collections 1 and 2 on the Switch as well. Now, it sounds like Disney has a bad feeling about making so many Star Wars movies. Disney has issued their first public statement following the poor box office performance of Solo: A Star Wars Story. Speaking with The Hollywood Reporter, Disney distribution president Dave Hollis says they're looking at all the reasons why the film didn't do well, and there's a question of frequency, with the film coming out right after other big blockbusters and just 6 months after the last Star Wars film. This could mean that Disney may reconsider the frequency that they release new Star Wars movies going forward and slow down the pace. Hollis also adds that they have a lot of work to do making the franchise more popular in international markets, particularly China, where all the new films have performed very badly. I think Disney and Lucasfilm carved out a fantastic space for Star Wars in the holiday season at Christmas time. And I think that that's where these Star Wars films should live. They almost exist less in a Marvel kind of way, you know, in kind of a Marvel space, and more of a Harry Potter type of space. They're still building the myths around Star Wars. They're still crafting these stories and letting us know. I mean, remember, most people's touch points with Star Wars are really relegated to the original 3 movies and the prequel movies, and now this new trilogy out there. They don't know all of the lore that's in the comics and the novels and the you know, animated shows and all that stuff. You know, some people have touch points with those and some connections with those, but they don't know all of these characters. And I think trying to Marvelize this stuff and put out new material every 3 months or 6 months is going to really damage the brand. And I think that they've got some lessons to learn when they launch the streaming service as well. What will happen with Star Wars as more and more of this stuff does become the new canon is that we are going to have all of these different entryways in. People will discover, more people will discover, you know, the fantastic Clone Wars and Rebels series and the new stuff that Filoni's working on. And we are going to get to know a lot of these characters, and the comics are doing really innovative, fantastic stuff. So over time, we will have this affinity with all of this external Star Wars lore, but it's really hard to just sort of cram it all down our throats. It's kind of similar to what Justice League did, too. I mean, even you can look at Justice League, and those heroes have been around forever, but they haven't been in our headspace forever. You know, Marvel did the right play. They took chances on these smaller characters, made movies of them, launched ideas around smaller characters having their own movies so that people started to dig in and do the research and all that stuff. And they fleshed out a full universe so that they can have a movie out every 6 months or 3 months or whatever, and people get excited about it. You can't just do that with every franchise out there. And Star Wars is learning the hard lessons there. But I think a huge factor, and Dave Hollis doesn't say this in the, I read that Hollywood Reporter article, he doesn't say that the backlash over The Last Jedi probably had a lot to do with the reception of Solo, and I think Disney and Lucasfilm should probably make a statement about that, you know? I know that would be politically difficult, but there are a lot of unhappy people with The Last Jedi, and also Star Wars Battlefront 2, and a lot of that stuff feeds into what's coming up next, and I think Solo is the direct result of that, and I think undeservedly, because Solo is actually kind of fun. It's not revolutionary, but it's a fun movie. Anyways, a new LEGO video game is being assembled, and this one doesn't seem very heroic. Warner Brothers and TT Games have officially announced LEGO DC Supervillains, an all-new LEGO game that was first rumored earlier this year. Unlike the previous LEGO DC games, which had a mix of both heroes and villains, this one is expected to focus just on the villains. More details will be revealed tomorrow. No release window yet, but don't expect to be playing it until after TT releases their more heroic LEGO Incredibles game. That's coming out next month. I played a little bit of the LEGO Incredibles game, and it is a blast. And I'm looking forward to where they go from here. I mean, this is the post-LEGO Dimensions TT Games. This is a company that's kind of going back to their roots with all of the learnings that have been applied to their standalone titles as well as the LEGO Dimensions stuff. And that company has evolved. I know it feels like there's a lot of routines and a lot of familiarity with the mechanics in a lot of these LEGO games, but if you look at the stuff that was in LEGO Star Wars, still the classic LEGO Star Wars games great, and their earlier stuff fantastic, but they have evolved and they've got a lot more stuff to kind of offer in their game design. So I'm looking forward to them having to refocus and reshift their energies, their creative energies, on these big standalone titles, and hopefully they come energized with lots of great innovations and lots of cool ideas. I remain a tried and true LEGO video game fan, though. I love LEGO Dimensions. I love the LEGO Force Awakens title that came out. Thought the last LEGO Marvel Superheroes title wasn't as good as the first LEGO Marvel Superheroes game, but still, this is a company that really delivers lots of enjoyable content to me and to lots of families out there. My kid loves them, and I know my daughter's going to be a big fan of LEGO Supervillains as well. Can't wait for that.